You're a panelist this week at the second annual Hybrid Work Summit discussing the importance of protecting the rights of disabled individuals in a post-COVID-19 world. Can you talk a little bit more about the challenges that those with disabilities face when it comes to work?
Sure, and I think one of the most important ways to frame that topic is the element there of post-COVID. If we think about individuals with physical, cognitive or otherwise disabilities, what the pandemic really did, and really one of the only good things from my perspective that came out of the pandemic, was it forced organizations to create, think about, and have the conversations around access to work for all of us. And that accommodation really created access for folks that had previous to the pandemic been struggling with, whether it's getting to the office or at the office being productive or allocating a disproportionate amount of time to my day to getting to work that might have otherwise been allocated to therapy or things that individuals with physical or otherwise disabilities require. And as the pandemic moves into, thankfully, post-pandemic, the stage there, it's a concern of many of ours that those access elements, those accommodations either go away or become less comfortable for the organization. And what we're really after, and what we were discussing yesterday at an awesome event at Fisher College, was we've really proven as an economy and as a population that we can all be productive working in that manner. And we can truly be inclusive and truly have a diverse, productive, engaged workforce. And so let's lean into that technology as opposed to revert back to pre-pandemic.
Absolutely. And speaking of the panel, Nancy Freites, mother of Pete Freites, who's the creator of the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, was a featured speaker. Can you talk a little bit about some of the takeaways from Nancy's conversation?
Absolutely. Blown away. What the Freites family did with the Ice Bucket Challenge, what they did for ALS, and what Pete really started with his journey is generational from a fundraising and awareness perspective. I think that team, that family have really created a platform for the caretakers as a element of the disability ecosystem, or those who require help aren't maybe the first thing people think about when an injury happens or someone's facing a challenge, a health challenge primarily. And really, Nancy brought that awareness to the conversation around a loved one, whether it be an injury, an illness, or perhaps even an aged parent, right? Many of us are in a position either right now or pretty shortly here in the future where we've got a job or a passion we're chasing. We've also got responsibilities and requirements to be present for our family. And what Nancy helped do was bring that into the conversation, because I think often when we talk about disabilities and access, people think about the injured individual, if you will. It's broader than that. And so and just a superstar person and family. And if you think about having an intimate interaction in a small auditorium at the Fisher College, it was really a blessing to be in the room with that family, for sure.
And you brought up a really interesting point. It affects not only the person with the disability, it also touches the family and the support network as well. And you yourself, you have a very compelling personal story that has really fueled your advocacy for the disabled community. Can you talk a little bit, can you share that story with us and the founding of your own company, 33 Foundation?
I'd be happy to, and I think any time we get a chance to talk about it, as I mature, I get more comfortable with it. So I grew up in the Boston area. I played hockey at Catholic Memorial right down the street in West Roxbury. I ended up at Providence College, and as a member of that hockey team, I was on a trip following my junior year where I fell. I fell off a roof, wrong place at the wrong time, and take all the responsibility for that, but ended up breaking my neck and my back in that injury with spinal damage at C6 and thoracic 3, so kind of Adam's apple and chest line. With the original prognosis being for me that I'd never walk again, never move anything below my chest. So blessed to have my family around me, to have faith, and to have an incredible rejection of that prognosis and fuel that into hard work. I walked out of that hospital in Atlanta 6 months after hearing I'd never walk again, and I did that, one arm on my parents, one arm on my faith.
Wow.
And it's really important 20-something years later, that was 2001, to make sure that the benefits I had, my parents were there the whole time. We grew up in Massachusetts, so Atlanta's not close. Not a wealthy family, so had to make some really trade-off decisions around, and I didn't make them, my folks did, around do I stay with my son thousands of miles away, or do I go back home and begin to try to gather some money to pay for the bills he's accruing. And so the 33 Foundation, really simple. We try to connect our generous donors to amazing folks who have a need. For now, we've really focused on in the spinal cord injury space, but the universe is growing. We struggle a bit with, we really help one person, but that leaves a lot of folks unserved. And so as we grow the platform at the 33 Foundation, we do so only to help more people. There's no ego, there's no name in the title of the organization, there won't be. It's about thousands of people need help. We're helping 1 or 2 a year. I'd love to double that and continue doing so with the support of the community. And so we're so thankful, so lucky. My day job at NWN Carousel runs a really aligned strategy around bringing technology solutions to everyone so we can all collaborate in an efficient, safe, productive way. And it's just really like a happy accident that's also my personal passion, which is around helping folks with disabilities get access to what they need to improve their recovery. So I'm just a fortunate guy, despite a rocky road there in 2001, to sitting here today with you talking about both NWN and 33.
Well, I think your story is such a beautiful testimony.
Thank you.
And speaking of NWN Carousel, can you share how is the organization working to transform the workspace for those who are disabled?
We are an organization focused on ensuring that organizations can collaborate, can interact, can work, can learn, can seek service and provide service, period. And what we do across our customer set, which is quite diverse and growing, whether it be a state agency providing rehabilitation services to their clients, or in Massachusetts, we're on the Mass Voice contract. Numerous state agencies are our partners and customers, bringing technology to the conversation so that we're able to do things like this, either here today in the studio or in a hybrid posture tomorrow if one of us is not in Boston, with really no friction, right? If we go back 5-7 years ago, that hybrid interaction, that video interaction would have been a bit clunky, might not have been as smooth, sometimes failed. And today, really, there's no tolerance for that in the experience. It's about making sure folks can interact in a frictionless way, period, right? And I think at NWN, we have led that strategy. We're really a market leader and continue to really look for ways to ensure the experience of the end user is really the prominent part of the conversation.
Excellent. How can employers better protect the rights of disabled individuals?
Back to the top of the conversation, we talked about the pre- and post-pandemic world from an access perspective for folks with disabilities. I think it's important that we just continue to feed that momentum. The change that came because we had to, the royal we had to change to continue to operate, whether it be schools, businesses, state agencies. Everyone had to change in 2020. And we changed really quick, and we proved we can do it. And it was bumpy, but we all got through it, and these organizations, many of them grew. And so let's continue to harness that momentum and continue to make sure we really have organizations that reflect the communities in which we live, work, and play, as opposed to almost that, because someone either can't physically get to the classroom or the office, or maybe that office isn't super accessible for someone who might be in a chair.
Right.
It's really a cry, a call for action that just says, we've already all done it. So there isn't this big fear of change. It's let's continue to evolve. And I think, bringing engagement, bringing equality, bringing access into the conversation with the expectation that change will happen, not just to talk about it. Action's the key, right? And so really that's what I think, and I would encourage organizations to do. And I'll end this comment with, many folks with disabilities are either forced to or cut. Many folks with disabilities have had to foster a resourcefulness and creativity just simply to get through the day. And I'm speaking personally. When I couldn't move my legs, the manner in which I put my pants on and put on my shoes had to be different. In the way I approached those simple day-to-day tasks, brushing your teeth, taking a shower, mentally you go to the end of that. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'm going to go out the front door today looking like I used to. And it doesn't happen in the same way. That resourcefulness I've found can be applied to corporate problems, corporate issues. And you come to the conversation as another voice at the table, not a dominant voice, but in a boardroom, in a leadership room, in a conversation like this. Why would we exclude that talent? It's a different problem-solving headset. Let's foster it. At least listen to it.
Yes, I think that perspective is so important to, as you said, continuing to move things forward and not going back. And finally, where can viewers learn more?
Viewers can learn more at our website, 33foundation.org. They can really engage the company at NWNCarousel.com. They can find us on Instagram, 33 Foundation. I'd love you to reach out, follow us. We have some amazing stories of beneficiaries that over the years have joined the 33 family, perhaps in a chair, and are still in the 33 family. Some are up and walking. Some might physically still be on their journey, but are doing amazing things intellectually. We have a beneficiary, Diane Vickus, a Brown University trained RN, and she's now providing pediatric healthcare through a remote technology solution. So if you just think about that for a second, here's a quadriplegic who was on the medical track, suffered an accident, is on the medical track doing actually what she set out to do before she got hurt. And the only thing in that equation that makes that true is the insertion of technology. Diane's a fighter, and that didn't change. Diane wants to help people. She's doing that. How? Technology. And that's like, you could, hopefully you hear it in my voice, like it just like fires me up to talk about, because those are the rock stars that we've had a chance to meet both at the foundation and at the company.